Hello and welcome to another live episode of the Alex Nitzberg Show. I'm Alex Nitzberg and today I'm going to be talking about a few things, COVID-19 vaccines specifically. I'm going to show you a clip of something that Tucker Carlson said yesterday. Also, a bit about Ukraine. I'm going to show you some clips where it shows how former Vice President Mike Pence and Vivek Ramaswamy, an author and entrepreneur who's also running for president right now, they have like these polar sort of opposite takes on the issue of Ukraine. Also, I'm going to show you how Eventbrite, which is a platform where you can post events and stuff that are coming up, they keep just removing from their website posts that are basically against radical leftist gender ideology. So the website is basically tanking, just like they're yanking stuff off of there when it has to do with that. They've done it with Matt Walsh stuff, and I'm going to show you they've done it again. Also, I'm going to show you a little bit about some interesting fundraising tactics that Vivek Ramaswamy and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum are using, where they're basically offering people a way to make money. I'll show you about that. They're different tactics, but I'm going to show you about that. So anyway, welcome to this episode. Thank you for watching. I've been doing the live shows at 3:30 Eastern Time on Saturdays, so if you're enjoying these, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, please follow me on Twitter as well if you're on there. So, let me go over here. So, first thing here. Yesterday, if you were not aware, there was this event where Tucker Carlson interviewed multiple Republican presidential primary candidates, and one of the people he interviewed was Asa Hutchinson, the former Arkansas governor, and he's running, and he's one of the candidates who I say has basically no chance whatsoever, but he's one of the candidates who's running for president. But Tucker made a comment about how the COVID-19 vaccine has hurt some people. And so I'm just going to show you that clip. This is an important topic, and he mentioned, I believe, how people aren't, you're not allowed to talk about it. And I do want to have at some point, I want to get Daniel Horowitz on the show to talk about that. That's something he's been covering a lot. And it is an important issue that is kind of verboten in the mainstream, media and all that kind of stuff. It's not something that I'm an expert on, but I know Daniel Horowitz talks about it all the time, and I want to get him on to talk about it at some point. But let me show you what Tucker said here.
I mean, I made the right decision taking the vaccine for me, but other people can make a different decision.
For sure, but do you think that now, what do you make of the evidence that there were an awful lot of people injured by it? I think, well, that's factually true. And it does seem like there is intense pressure not to mention that. And so if we care about people, we should also care about people who are injured by a drug they were coerced into taking. Why is there no conversation about that?
Well,
and that is an important issue. And like I said, I'm going to get Daniel Horowitz on here at some point to talk about that. But yeah, also during this this forum here, there was an exchange where Tucker Carlson basically said something to Asa Hutchinson about how many shots he had taken. And Asa Hutchinson fired back. He's like, how many have you taken? And Tucker was like, 0. So apparently Tucker Carlson did not take the COVID-19 vaccine. So let me move on to the Ukraine stuff here. This is the same event yesterday where he also interviewed Mike Pence. He interviewed Senator Tim Scott, and he interviewed a former UN ambassador, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, and he interviewed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And I think there was like 6 people. If I missed anybody, I think that's everybody, but I might have... Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm going to show you that. But anyway, so Pence is very much pro the U.S. support. He believes that the U.S. should be supporting Ukraine to help them defend themselves against Russia. And he basically says here, and I believe he's expressed before, this idea of he thinks it's in the U.S. interests for Ukraine to be in NATO. Now, when you watch what he says here, he acknowledges obviously that would need to be after the war is concluded, because otherwise, the U.S. would be drawn into war. But he's saying that, and then I'm going to show you a clip where Vivek Ramaswamy basically says that if he were president, he would try and negotiate into the war, and that would include basically saying that Ukraine will not be part of NATO. So let me show you those 2 clips.
If we were to allow Ukraine to join NATO today, then the obligations of the NATO Treaty on Mutual Defense would initiate immediately, and we'd be pulled into a conflict. I don't want that to happen. But I do believe that after the war is won and over, that welcoming Ukraine into NATO, embracing them with open arms in the West, is in the interest of our security and of our nation in the long term. And let me also say, I think this fight is also... I think this fight...
All right, so that's Pence. Actually, let me see.
It's also about China, Tucker. I know we don't talk about that enough. I know a lot of people say, and you may hear from some other candidates in this race, that we ought to be focused on China. Well, I gave the first major speech in our administration, changing administration policy on China. We called them out.
All right, I'm going to stop it there. Here's Vivek Ramaswamy.
The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat that the U.S. actually faces today. And we are pushing Russia closer into China's arms by actually continuing to arm Ukraine. So what I've said is that I would negotiate a deal that ends the Ukraine war, frees the current lines of control. Yes, that means giving part of the Donbas region to Russia. I would make a hard commitment that NATO never admits Ukraine to NATO. And those seem like unspeakable words in certainly the Republican donor class. But we get something greater in return, which is that Putin, in that case, would have to exit his military partnership with China and remove nuclear weapons from Kaliningrad, which border Poland, and get the Russian military out of Cuba and Venezuela and the West. And this is a deal that Putin should do because he ends up winning. He gets things that he doesn't have today. But it secures American interests, too. And I do think in a weird way, it does take an outsider to get that job done. Because if you want someone to fix a problem, you don't turn over the keys to somebody who actually broke the thing in the first place.
If you watch Vivek Ramaswamy yesterday or just in general, you know, he's a really good. He's just like he's good at this. He's really good at public speaking. He seems super smart. I like him a lot. Now, I don't think he's got a chance, you know, winning the Republican nomination right now, but maybe one day in the future. But he seems like a really interesting guy. So, also on the same topic of Vivek Ramaswamy, he came out with this thing called the Vivek Kitchen Cabinet, where he's offering people the opportunity to fundraise for him, but to make money, profit by doing so. He's giving people this thing where if they raise money for him, then they can keep a 10% commission of whatever they raise. So if you raise $100,000, you get to keep $10,000 basically. And the way it sounds like it's working is he gives you this link, and if you can get people to give him money to his campaign through the link, through your link, then you get to keep 10% of it. You have to apply to be in the program and stuff. But that's pretty interesting. So he's giving people a financial incentive to fundraise for his campaign, which actually seems like a smart move. You know, because some people who maybe wouldn't necessarily be as motivated, maybe they'll fundraise for him now. So that's sort of interesting. Also, just wanted to note here, if you go to his website, he's got, you know, different things he wants to accomplish. And one of the things he has here is shut down toxic government agencies, Department of Education, FBI, IRS, and more, and rebuild from scratch when required. So I mean, that's something, as a conservative, like, I want to hear that from candidates. Like, I want to hear, here's a list of like 5 agencies that I just want to like get rid of them. You know, that is, as you would say, red meat for the conservative base. Like, we want to hear that. He's talked about also, you say here, it says move greater than 75% of federal employees out of Washington, D.C. So, yeah, he was getting interviewed by Glenn Beck yesterday, and he talked about also slashing certain departments by, like, I think he said 75%. So the whole idea of eliminating departments, slashing the federal workforce, I mean, all of these things, for me and probably many other conservatives, it's like, yes. It's kind of funny. It's like, you know, with the government shutdown thing, it's like people are talking about, oh my gosh, the government's going to shut down. A lot of conservatives are like, great, shut it down. But I mean, obviously there's parts of the government we don't want to shut down, but like there's a lot of it that we would like to just shut down permanently. Now also, Doug Burgum, who's the North Dakota governor, he's also running for president. Also, I would say no chance, but he's running. And he is offering people, if you donate $1 to his campaign, he will send you a $20 gift card. So he's literally giving away money to get people to donate to his campaign. And you can see here on this page, it says, the burden of on American families caused by the Democrats is unruly, and Joe Biden is doing nothing to fix it. We want to help, so we're offering you a $20 gift card, and all you have to do is contribute $1 to claim it. So you're probably thinking to yourself, he's losing $19. How does this work? Well, the reason that he's doing it is because you need to reach a certain threshold in polling and in fundraising in order to get on the on the Republican primary debate stage. And so, yeah, he's losing money, but it's going to help him meet the fundraising threshold. over here you can see he said yes, 50,000 people will actually get a Visa or MasterCard gift card to their mailing address. When it comes to providing economic relief to the American people, I'm not messing around. So, I mean, he's obviously going to be losing $19 plus whatever the, if assuming he's paying to mail it to you, he's going to lose that too. So he's losing lots of money. Here's the RNC's criteria for this debate, which is coming up August 23rd in Milwaukee. So it's a little bit more than a month away, the first Republican primary debate. It'll be interesting to see if Trump actually shows up for it. Right now, and consistently, he's so far ahead that it kind of seems like he could just do nothing, including not showing up for debates, and just do whatever he wants, and he'll probably just cream everybody. I hope he does show up for the debate, but we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, so the criteria, some of the criteria includes, this polling criteria. You have to be a poll at least 1% in 3 national polls, or 1% in 2 national polls, and 1% in 1 early state poll from 2 separate, blah, blah. Anyway, you can read this if you want to look it up. But they've got all these criteria. And then here for fundraising, it says have a minimum of 40,000 unique donors to candidates' principal presidential campaign or exploratory committee, with at least 200 unique donors per state or territory in 20 plus states and or territories. So if you're someone like Doug Burgum, who's not well known nationally, who's a candidate who I would say is not exciting anybody, nobody's talking about him, he's not polling high or anything, he's going to probably be able to help himself reach this threshold because he's basically giving away money to do it. So that'll probably that'll help him get there probably. So yeah, there's that. Oh, also I'll mention here, the candidates, if they want to participate in this debate, they have to sign a pledge, and they have to pledge that they a few things here, but they have to pledge that they agree to support the party's eventual nominee. And that's a problem for some people because some people are unwilling to pledge to support Trump. And I'm not sure what Trump's going to do, but I don't really think Trump would want to sign this either. But of course, he also probably believes he will be the nominee. So we'll see what happens. I think this is completely speculation. I think that Trump will participate in this debate, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Okay, so this is the thing I was telling you about Eventbrite. So Eventbrite's basically a platform where you can post, you have an event coming up, and you can post about your event and stuff. I think you might also be able to have people RSVP, or it might be some ticket stuff, whatever. I don't know exactly all about it, but it's an event platform where you can post your event. And they have a track record of removing posts of things that are opposing radical leftist gender ideology. For instance, they have removed posts that have to do with screenings for Matt Walsh's What is a Woman, a documentary. And I just read this week about this one here. There's this event that's called Let Women Speak, Austin. And this woman here, Michelle Evans, she posted this screenshot of this message from Eventbrite. And it said, "We're reaching out regarding your event listing, Let Women Speak Austin. We have determined that your event is not permitted on the Eventbrite platform as it violates our community guidelines and terms of service, specifically our policy on hateful, dangerous, or violent content and events." And then it says, as a result, your event has been unpublished. So what is this event? Well, over here, Michelle Evans has a post, and you can see here it says, "Let Women Speak, Austin, Texas. Women speaking out about the harms of gender ideology, the erasure of women, the mutilation of healthy bodies, and the protection of our sex-based rights." And she has this link here to Eventbrite, and when you click on that link, it says this event is currently unavailable because they removed it. So that event, I would say it doesn't sound controversial. Unfortunately, in modern society, I guess it is controversial. But I mean, so basically, Eventbrite's like, oh, we're not gonna let women speak. Now, I mean, obviously the event's not canceled, but the Eventbrite platform won't leave up the Let Women Speak event. So that's kind of ironic. Also, just ironic because if you get on Eventbrite's website, it says Eventbrite is a global self-service ticketing platform for live experiences that allows anyone to create, share, find, and attend events that fuel their passions and enrich their lives. Well, unless we don't agree with the event's about, and then we're gonna nix it. We're gonna take it down. So. Yeah, I mean, they don't write that, obviously, but yeah, so, because this is a consistent problem with them. They keep taking this kind of stuff down. So yeah, so anyway, that's it for me today. Kind of a shorter show than usual, I guess. But let me just remind you again to please follow me on Twitter if you're not already doing so. And also as well on YouTube. If you're not already following me over here, please do that. But thank you for watching this episode of the Alex Nitzberg Show. And I'll be back next Saturday at 3:30 for another episode. And that's it. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.